university will say, hey, why not come here? So don't know about that. Still making plans. Yeah.
So there is a direct flight from Kuala Lumpur, from Penang as well, to Surabaya. So after that, from Surabaya, then there's a 1 hour ride to Malang. That's it. Not so far, yeah. And coming into Indonesia right now, you still need the PCR test. That's it. You don't need anything else, just the PCR test. Yes, no quarantine. And the application that you need to download is Peduli Lindungi. But it's not that strict anymore like last time.
Super, the same here. It's not that strict. You don't have to be quarantined, but you do have to show your vaccination certificate.
Yes, then that is in your phone, right? You just need to have your phone standby to show the certificate.
How many students today, Pak Anam? One.
So far is
it's around maybe 100 students. Less or more 100.
100 students, one class.
Yeah,
it's a mass lecture, is it? Supposedly. For English, we don't have mass lecture. We have smaller groups. So our groups is like between 18, 20 until 35 max. We don't have mass lecture for English.
Yeah, this one is because we gather all the students actually from semester. Now is their second semester. Yeah, 2 and 4. Yeah, second and fourth semester.
I see. All right. Nervous nih? Nervous is normal, right? Makes me human.
No need to be nervous.
I also feel nervous actually, Madam Shafinah.
Just relax. Let the student do their work. Then we can enjoy the class. Yeah. It's about cultural adjustment, is it? Just see the poster. Yeah. I think should be okay.
Kebetulan this Thursday also I'll be talking about intercultural communication, which is a webinar open to public. I will share the link to you, which will also talk about intercultural communication, which might be related to your students if they would like to join. Yeah, I'll share the link with you.
We will ask our students to join so they can learn more. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. I think most of our students are here. Pak Anam, do you want to begin the class now?
Okay, of course.
Okay.
Butini.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Madam Shafinah, Pak Anam, I hand over the class to you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Butini.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Greeting from Malang, Indonesia. My name is Anam. I am lecturer of University of Merdeka Malang. Here, we are attending the second collaborative teaching program initiated by the Office of International Affairs, University of Merdeka Malang, and also Universiti Teknologi Kedah, Malaysia. It is the great opportunity for both universities to share knowledge, experiences, and cultures. Here, in these occasions, we also invite the very experienced lecturer from UiTM Kedah branch. She is expert in English for specific purpose, sociolinguistic, and workplace communications. And I believe that she will give us so many things in her own expertise and share them to us today. She is Madam Shafinah binti Shaleh. Good morning, Madam Shafinah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, thank you for attending this opportunities.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Very honored. Thank you.
And also attending this program, the head of Office International Affairs, Universitas Merdeka Malang, Dr. Adi Despandini. First of all, I have to deliver my big thanks to Butini and also the team of International Affairs Office for providing us this great opportunity. And also, I personally hope that this is not only my last chance attending this kind of program, so the program should be continually conducted to gain more experience and also knowledge at the same time. As what I've been mentioned previously, both Indonesian and Malaysians have a lot of knowledge to be shared, and we both have a lot of cultural differences and similarities to be known each other. And talking about Indonesian and Malaysians, we both have pantun, so I will start this program using pantun. Ke Bukit Bintang senang rasanya bersama teman nikmat enaknya. Sudah siap semuanya? Sekarang kita mulai acaranya. Well, ladies and gentlemen, starting this today's discussions, I also have questions to all the audiences about: do you ever think that you want to live abroad, or maybe do you ever think to study abroad? If you say yes, it may be very interesting when you can travel to a different country, meet many new people, learn about another culture, and also learn about completely different way of life. But will it run very smoothly as what I've been talking? Exactly no. Why? Because as soon as you live in a different country, different environment, different people, you will find that culture shock. Malaysia, for example, it is only less than 2 hours flight from Jakarta to KL. But living in new environment will not always very fun. You need to adjust to the new norms, new things, new language, or even food. You also need to remember the directions where you want to go shopping, traveling, or even going back home. This is why I also have invited the students of University of Merdeka Malang, majoring in tourism department, to talk about cultural adjustment, starting from the phases of cultural shock, such as honeymoon period, the period when people feel amazed and living in your country, and then adjustment period, the period when you start to feel like, oh, okay, it is normal of feeling this kind of shock, and the last chance is acceptance period. The students will also be presenting the differences between Malaysian and also Indonesians, such as, culture, such as food, language, and also people's behavior. Well, ladies and gentlemen, generally our this program will be divided into 3 main parts. The first part is the presentations done by students. The second part is the explanations from the expertise, Madam Shafinah binti Shaleh. And the last part is the Q&A sessions led by myself. Then we move to the first part, that is presentations delivered by Diploma of Tourism students, Universitas Merdeka Malang. Okay, take your time, students. We are having Karen and friends. Karen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you please start to share the screen? The PowerPoint.
Okay, let us start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for today's opportunity for our group to present about cultural adjustment. We are the students for Diploma of Tourism of University of Merdeka Malang. We'll bring you the topic for today's presentation. But first, let me introduce myself and my team. My name is Karen Elizabeth as the leader of the team, and I will introduce my teammates one by one. The first is Kensa Sabila, the second is Reza Syarani Yasmin, and the third is Galadia Dharma. Okay, without further ado, let's start. First, what is cultural shock? Cultural shock refers to feelings of uncertainty, confusion, or even anxiety when people may experience when moving to a new country, also experiences with culture or environment. This happens to almost everyone throughout the world, not only Indonesian, especially for those who are mainly studying or working abroad. And we also provide a picture, as you can see there, there's someone that felt left behind from the rest of the group. This is what cultural shock looks like, because sometimes you don't know what to do in foreign country, right? And this is actually happen in real life. Okay, so the second is cultural shock and emotion. Cultural shock and emotions are two things that related. When emotion holds a big role in cultural shock, we can say that we know it because you can notice someone face right away, and you may already guess what are their experiences look like currently. Based on the pictures that we provided here, I will explain the most common thing that happen in almost everyday life of cultural shock itself. The first one is happy or excited. Happy because we see and learn about new things that we might never have seen in our country. And we also feel excited because we get to learn new things, right? The second is sad or disappointment. Why do we mention about sad and feeling disappointed here? Well, because not everything is the same in our country or the other countries as itself, because well, the main reason is due to the rules or social norms that applies that in certain countries that are forbidden, probably like something like that. The last but not least is feeling silly or embarrassed. Sometimes when we do some things in another country, the people in there may not approve or look strange to them, thus make us feel like a fool or like a stupid version of ourselves, and that will feel very awkward. That is also a common thing that happen, and fear not, sometimes it also happened to myself. Okay, that's all for my explanation now. The next slide will be presented by my friend Kala.
Thank you, Karen, for the material about definition of cultural shock and emotion. Here, there are 5 stages of cultural shock adjustment. Thank you, Karen, for the material about definition of cultural shock and emotion. Here, thank you, Karen, for the material about definition of cultural shock and emotion. Here, there are 5 stages of cultural shock adjustment. Yes. 5 stages of cultural shock adjustment. Number 1, Honeymoon stage. Honeymoon stage, the first stage of cultural shock usually occurs in the first week, 2 months. The thing that is dominantly felt is the euphoria of living a new life that is different from before. This phase is generally filled with the present experience. However, this period must end and move on the next stage. Number 2, negotiation stage. At this stage, a person will begin to experience frustration. Often it is due to the transition from the happy honeymoon stage to the negotiation stage where difficulties begin to attack repeatedly. Some examples are being constrained by the way home command. This situation often makes people despair and want to return to their country of origin. Number 3, adjustment stage. Adjustment stage after going through approximately half a year. A person will enter the adjustment stage, which is already able to better understand the condition of the environment. Generally begin to try to remingle with the society to learn new things related to the culture of the country. Number 4, adaptation stage. The adaptation stage is the last stage that a person will experience while still in a foreign area. The individual is fully comfortable with everything that is happening in the new area. Even if you will not return to feeling the same euphoria as the honeymoon stage, you will feel happy and at home in your home environment. Number 5, re-entry shock. After living in the new area for a long time where you are used to all kinds of situation and condition, while returning to the area of origin, a person will quickly realize that the situation is different and no longer the same when we went abroad. Feelings of sadness will include when you have to adapt to all the newness and the old environment. Yes, states of cultural shock adjustment. Based on research, the diagram of cultural shock usually happens or occurred to 1 year stay approximately of an individual in a foreign culture. Although make be skipped, these are the common symptoms of behavior. Thank you. For the next material will be presented by Ken.
Okay, Gala. Thank you to explain the material about stage of culture shock adjustment and stage of re-entry process. I will explain my part about main problems in culture shock. Culture shock has become a normal thing nowadays due to the increasing numbers in people traveling throughout the world. Although going from one country to another gets easier with technology, people still have problems that they can overcome, with below are the top 3 main troubles in culture shock that people are even inside not realized yet. Number 1 is language communication. Language is a unique topic. The problem is not everyone understands English, conversating, or get what we want. This is the main problem since we need language to speak. Number 2 is buying groceries. As mentioned before, different countries have a different language. Thus, they call this or that stuff item in another language. Sometimes we could not get the item we want or ask people what is specific item called. It also could be trouble if we're shopping alone. And the last is getting public transportation. Unlike in airport or port, where the workers employed could speak in English to guide you many times, you encounter problems from asking for the direction to buying tickets, and no one's around that could speak English to help you too. The next material that I will explain is about individual action. It's individual action when adapting to something new, the experience a different way of adapting. The pace that may be experienced are divided into 4, namely frustration, confuse, tension, and shame. Certain individuals have difficulty adapting to a new environment and perhaps never do. Others seem to adjust well from the very beginning of their stay. Living in another culture is undoubtedly an educational experience, learning about second language, different customs, and encountering new values. Many people feel that mental isolation to foreign cultures enables them to gain insight to their own society. When facing different values, beliefs, and behavior, they develop a deeper understanding of themselves, of the society that helps to shape their characters. Individuals experience the stage of adjustment and re-entry, and, excel of refuge will adjust differently from someone who voluntarily traveled to a near country. Okay, that's all my explanation now. The next material will be presented by my friend Karen.
Okay, Ken, thank you for your explanation about main problems in cultural shocks and individual reaction. Now I will give all of you a brief explanation about the differences between Indonesia and Malaysia. As we all know, these neighboring countries are living close by, but there are a lot of differences, also a lot of similarities that we may have not noticed before, or sometimes we just ignore it because we feel it is the same. But in here, we will explain more about it. So you don't have to confuse it anymore. And my friend Yasmin will expand the topic further so we can understand more.
Well, Karen, thank you for the explanation about difference between the Indonesia and Malaysia in general. Now I will explain about national landmark. The first, in Malaysia, they have Petronas Tower, also known as Twin Tower. It is located in the center of the capital city of Malaysia, namely Kuala Lumpur. Petronas Tower, there is a bridge that connects the two twin buildings. The second, in Indonesia, we have Monas or Monument Nasional. It is our main national monument. This monument is crowned with flames covered with gold sheet, which symbolizes the fighting spirit of the Indonesian people. The national monument is located right in the middle of Medan Merdeka Square, Central Jakarta. And now I will also explain about traditional clothes in both countries. As we can see here, there are slight differences between both. The first, in Malaysia, it's called baju kurung. The characteristic feature of the baju kurung is that it's loosely cut, has no button or collar, and has a leg that reaches the knee. While in Indonesia, it's called baju kebaya. The main differences are motif, while the Malaysia looks similar than Indonesia, which is more differences in the motif and the accessories. Okay, that's all for me about traditional clothes. The next topic will be presented by my friends Karen.
Okay, Yasmin, thank you for your explanation regarding the landmarks and traditional clothes. Now I will explain the similarities between Indonesian and Malaysian based on food and drinks. As you can see in the pictures here, those items may look like the same, but into these two countries, they also have different names. Okay, I will explain it from the first picture. The first one, we have es campur in Indonesia, but in Malaysia, people call it air bata campur. The second is lapis legit from Indonesia, but in Malaysia, they call it kek lapis Sarawak. And the number 3 is nasi padang in Indonesia, but in Malaysia, it is called nasi lemak. And the fourth and the final pictures here, we have sweet desserts. In Indonesia, we call it martabak manis, but in Malaysia, they call it apam balik. Okay, now I will explain about the language differences between Malaysian and Indonesia, but only briefly. Although these two countries are close, there are some differences between the language themselves. Yes, as I may have mentioned before, that we are neighboring countries, but not everything is 100% the same. Up until now, our languages are different, but it cannot be used interchangeably. Although some of us may notice what are the difference between one and two words, or vice versa, that applies in daily life. And my friend Gala will explain further about the language itself.
Thank you, Karen, for your explanation about language difference in general. This is same popular terms that we picked. As you can see, some of the words are different. Here, the example. In Indonesia, we say dilarang membuang sampah, but in Malaysia, say dilarang membuang sampah merata-rata. The second one is toilet, but in Malaysia, it's bilik merenung, because when we sit in the toilet, we also think about things. Belok kanan, belok kiri is what we usually said here, when in Malaysia is pusing kanan, pusing kiri. But you'll be given medikin in the because pusing means in confusion. Okay. These are the different traits between Indonesian and Malaysia. In Indonesia, people usually gossip in public, but Malaysia don't. Indonesian currently crossing the streets during red light, while Malaysia are for more discipline in the streets. In Indonesia, people use roll toilet paper as daily use in a restaurant, which is considered weird or disgusting. While in Malaysia, facial tissue is used in restaurant and daily use, where toilet paper only used in toilet for hygiene use, not for wiping your mouth after eating. Thank you. For the next material will be presented by Ken Salsabila.
Okay, Gala, thank you for the material about the difference between Indonesia and Malaysia terms and different habits in Indonesia and Malaysia. I will explain about my part is culture differences in Indonesia and Malaysia. As we all know, Indonesia and Malaysia shares a lot in common, from language, food, cultures to the habits, but it's not 100% the same. Here are the summaries between the difference and the similars from both countries. If any of you are confused to tell which one is the similars and which one is the different. The difference is Indonesia government. Indonesia is a republic and while Malaysia is a kingdom. Indonesia was colonized by Dutch, Malaysia was colonized British. Indonesian language have many borrowed words from Dutch, while Malaysian language have many borrowed words from English. Indonesia is an archipelago country, while Malaysia is a country with two mainlands, is Malaya Peninsula and a large northern part of Borneo Island. And the similarities is Indonesia and Malaysia language is a part of Malay language. Indonesia in Malaysia is a Muslim majority countries. Indonesia and Malaysia is a tropical country, and Indonesia in Malaysia is founding members of ASEAN. The next material is about Indonesia cultures. As you know, Indonesia has various cultures spread across the country. There are the most wide known in the world. The number one is Tari Topeng. Tari Topeng is a dance in which the dancer wear masks. Tari Topeng is different from the classic Ramayana story combined with local folklore. Tari Topeng mostly found in Borneo as is used in a bout, ritual, or a show. And number two is gamelan. Gamelan is a traditional musical ensemble from Java, Sunda, and Bali. These are made up primarily of percussive instruments such as bonang, kendang, and gong. In addition to musical performance, gamelan is also commonly used from musical instrument in several traditional rituals. The word gamelan itself comes from the Javanese language gamel, which means hiding or sleeping. And the last, batik. Batik is already world famous since ages ago and will ring a bell once it's mentioned. Batik itself is a handmade craft on paper, parchment, linen, or even cloth. Handmade batik is a more traditional and authentic to be sold at high prices. Different regions in Indonesia have different style or batik. Okay, that's all my explanation now. The next material will be presented by my friend Karen. My friend Yasmin.
Well, Ken, thank you for the explanation about Indonesian culture. Now I will explain about Malaysia culture. The first is Tari Daling-Daling. Tari Daling-Daling is a traditional dance from the Aceh and Suluk tribes. This dance is performed to the accompaniment of gabang, strokes, and violin. Filtration and singing long, curved artificial nails embedded in the 10 finger of the female dancer. This dance is an entertainment dance on curtain events that are reciprocal in nature between male and female dancer. And the second is gambus. Gambus is a traditional Malaysian instrument. It looks like guitar with the string and usually used in traditional show and plays, function as an accompaniment to the Zeppin dance, and singing at wedding or Thanksgiving event. And okay, thank you. That's all for me about Malaysian culture. The next, Buah Kumbu. The last Buah Kumbu. Buah Kumbu is traditional linen pattern from Malaysia. It is originated Sarawak. It is considered as holy stuff by the local for many use. Buah Kumbu is used in important ceremonies and events. Okay, that's all for me about Malaysian culture. The next slide will be presented by Karen.
Okay, Yasmin, thank you for the last material regarding of Malaysian culture. And thank you everyone for your attention for this morning's presentation. I hope that we all can learn a new things, maybe one or two unique things here. And now we can go back to our MC, Mr. Anam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karen and friends, about the presentations. I mean, yeah, we know, understanding that actually both Malaysian and Indonesians have differences and similarities in terms of language, food, or maybe traditional cultures. And now we move forward to the second speakers of our today's discussions. She is Madam Shafinah binti Muhammad Shaleh. But first of all, I'd like to introduce Madam Shafinah. Madam Shafinah is one of the senior lecturer from UiTM Kedah, Malaysia, especially in the Department of UiTM Campus Sungai Petani. And she is very experienced in workplace communications, English for specific purposes, and social linguistics. Her current studies focus on study of language competency for employees in ICT industry and impact bantuan zakat terhadap prestasi akademik pelahar dan penghayatan agama kajian case era COVID-19. She also has published a lot of articles and journals. The latest one is Integrating English Medium Mathematics Mobile Applications to Teach Low Achiever University Students. And now, without no doubt, I invite Madam Shafinah binti Muhammad Shaleh to present cultural adjustment.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Anam, for the kind introduction. I am Shafinah, as introduced, and I will be sharing. I'm no expert in the field, but I will be sharing what I know about the topic so that, yeah, we all can benefit from, inshallah. So allow me to share the slide. I can. I can share.
Can you stop your screen, please?
Okay. Is my voice clear?
It is totally clear.
All right, good. Okay. So let's start, inshallah. Okay. So yeah, today's topic that was given to me is on cultural adjustment, appreciating cultural differences. This is my first collaborative teaching with Universitas Merdeka, inshallah. Let's begin. Okay. So when we talk about culture, yeah, appreciating culture, there's two key words that you need to really understand. There's two key words. One is the word appreciate. Appreciate. Appreciate means you have to show respect. You have to show respect to the culture. You have to respect the culture, right? You have to respect the culture because there's some value to the people that you are with, right? There's value for them, so you should respect that value. And that culture that you learn is not something that you learn one day and forget about it, right? For example, when you go to Thailand, you have to why gesture, right? So it's something that normal, everyday Thais would do as a greeting. So you go there, you learn that, but it doesn't mean that you forget about it. You cherish. It's something that you remember, the good things you take in. It will improve your social skills as well. So when we talk about appreciate, you have to have these three keywords: respect, value, and cherish. The other word is differences. So when we talk about differences, this is a plural word for the word difference. Okay, we're talking about contrast. So cultures, we live in a culture that might not be similar with us. And when there are dissimilarities, it shows that we are diverse. There's a variety. and it makes us unique in our own ways. And sometimes these differences require you to make changes, adaptation, right? To adapt to that situation. So these are the words that you need to understand when you want to appreciate cultural differences. If you have this in your mind, then you are more willing, or you welcome the cultural differences, inshallah. Okay. Now, in Malaysia, we have this peribahasa or proverb, seperti katak di bawah tempurung. It's like katak is frog, right? Tempurung is the coconut shell, right? Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that we live in a world where we are surrounded by people. So when we are surrounded by people, we need to communicate with people. Be involved in the daily activities. You go to the supermarket, you go to restaurants, you go places. So you shouldn't be living like seperti katak di bawah tempurung, right? Because it just makes you have limited knowledge about things around you. Whereas the world is a big world and you have this one life to explore. So go out and explore, learn new things. So that is learning, appreciating life and appreciating culture, because culture is not just specific to one country to another. Sometimes the neighbor next to you is culturally different from you. For example, in Malaysia, we are a multiracial country, and my neighbor is Chinese. So definitely their way of running the daily activity would be different from me, right? So for example, in the morning, they would come out of the house and they have to do their prayers outside. So I would have to respect that. In my rush of going outside to send my children to school, I see them praying. I don't disturb them because they are praying. So you appreciate the moment of peace. They are doing their prayers in the morning outside. Maybe once they have finished praying outside, then you start greeting, saying, hello, good morning. So that is what you mean by not living under the tempurung, under the coconut shell. Because there's another proverb, jauh perjalanan, luas pemandangan. Okay, I'm not translating it because the origin is in Malay, right? So it means that if you were to literally translate it, it means the more you travel, the more you experience, right? The more you see. That's the literal meaning. But if we look at it, it doesn't just necessarily mean you need to travel the world. It's just that you need to go out, you need to experience, because when you go out, you are able to appreciate things around you. You are able to welcome the things that are not your usual things. You know, you are always surrounded by your usual habit, the environment that you live in. So once you go out of your house, you see things differently, and that enriches yourself, enriches your experience, enriches your languages, more languages that you learn. You learn to respect people, you learn to value things, you see things in a different perspective. So I coined this myself because I know that we live in a society. So I always tell myself that you need to listen to people, learn, and local, the 3L. That's what I coined, yeah? Listen, learn, and local. What it basically means is that in everyday life, when I get an opportunity to speak with people, there's always something that you need to pay attention to. You don't simply speak just because you want to achieve a particular goal. For example, you go to a restaurant and you want to order a drink, right? So I would like iced cafe latte, please. That's all you say, right? But at the same time, you can observe the body language, the facial expression. So you're listening attentively, while observing everything, makes you learn about the people. Because even though you are in the same area, but you might be culturally different in a way. So learning from these everyday, opening up to these everyday things that you do enables you to appreciate more. Because sometimes when you have learned something, you might have to unlearn it and relearn something new. because what you have learned before has passed, is a passé, old-fashioned. So you have to unlearn and relearn a new thing. For example, before the pandemic, I learned how to use the computer, right? I know how to use the computer. I know how to what do you call, set up a meeting, online meeting. But because of the pandemic, I learned that, oh, you can record. There's a different way of recording. There's some setting that can be involved. So I had to unlearn the previous knowledge and relearn the new skills. So similarly, in everyday life, when you are open to this learning concept, unlearning and relearning, the more you would welcome or appreciate differences. And the other one is local. So what it means is that when you are living in a society, you're living in a society, you mix with people. You mix with people who might not be local, might be from another village, but live in the same town with you. So get to know them, listen to their stories, share experiences. That opens up your mind and makes you appreciate more about the differences that may exist. Just like the presenter mentioned, the group just now mentioned, Karen, Gala, and Ken, if I'm not mistaken. You're talking that Malaysia and Indonesia, we look like kind of similar, but we are different in a way. We are different in a way. So maybe certain things are slightly different, but that does not make us enemies, right? It just makes us unique. You are uniquely you and I'm uniquely me. So we learn to appreciate so that we can tolerate more. So this 3L is something that I coined myself: listen, learn, local, which I always tell every time I conduct my everyday life. Yeah. All right, I'm going to show you this. You don't have to answer, just think about it. When you see these pictures, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? All right. This is kueh bakul. Kueh bakul is a traditional Chinese delicacy, which is made of glutinous rice and usually served during Chinese New Year. Kueh bakul. A picture of a dog, two types of dog. The famous Hindu temple in Batu Caves, Selangor. And a couple, mixed marriage. She's Malaysian and he's from Guinea. Guinea is in West Africa, not Papua New Guinea, but Guinea. So when you see these pictures, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? So if you have a prejudice, then it might be shaped because of prior experience, okay? Prior experience, your previous experience. So you are prejudiced towards the pictures here. So when you conduct your daily life and you see these things, you bring in this prejudice with you, okay? Sorry. For example, when I was younger, I come from Perlis. Perlis is in the northern part of Malaysia. Now, Malaysia is comprised of two kepulauan. One is the Peninsula Malaysia and the other is Sabah Sarawak. Okay, so Peninsula Malaysia, if you put your palm up, looks like this, the face of your palm, right? So Johor is at the bottom and Kedah and Perlis is top. Okay, so Perlis is neighboring Thailand. So I have a lot of experience, cultural experience with Thailand, because during weekends, my mom and dad would bring me to the border to go shopping, because you can go shopping using your daily pass those days, go shopping at the border and then come back. So my experience with the Thais were mainly in the context of buyer and seller. So I had this idea that, okay, we go there to shop. Thais are very good in business. That was my first idea. Okay, and as I grow older, as I go places, as I go to the university, meet more people, talk to more people, I realized that, hey, Thais are just like me. They are in Thailand, I'm in Malaysia. There are lecturers, there are also lecturers here. There are also students there, there are also students, they're humans. So we tend to change that. And supposedly, you should also change that so that the prejudice that you had before is erased. You have a better view of the people. You don't dwell with the past, because what has happened before may not happen now. So appreciating is about that. Welcoming, always welcoming. When you are able to always learn, relearn, and unlearn and relearn, then you'll be able to appreciate the differences in culture, because things are always changing, forever changing. Hey, your smartphone is always updating, right? Every 3 months, every few months, they will send a notification, please update the operating system, right? So if technology updates, our brain also needs to update. Our memory needs to be updated. So what has happened in the past, it's just the past. We should learn from it, change our perception by experiencing a new kind of, culture, meet new people, learn, unlearn and relearn the experience with the same people that you had before. Then you'll be able to appreciate. I'm sorry, I don't have any previous experience with Indonesia. Basically, maybe because I was at the north, more of neighboring Thailand, so a lot of experience with Thais. I don't have auntie and uncle who married Indonesian. I've never traveled to Indonesia. I do travel to other places, but not Indonesia. Okay, so let's move on. First things first, when you want to appreciate, you need to do a self-check. Self-check, not physical check. You don't have to check about whether you're healthy or not, but more of the inner beliefs. How is it that you treat your friends? How is it that you speak to your friends? How is it do you speak to your neighbors, your colleagues? Do you have any bias? Okay, because it starts from there. It starts from this daily routine that you do. If you are biased towards the people around you, you won't be able to just simply erase it and go places. You need to do a self-check. How is it that you treat your friends? Are you biased? Are you equal? Of course, we have our likes and dislikes about people, but we don't have a certain bias that it's fixed. Okay, it's fixed that, oh, I don't want to be friends with this person because he's from this village, because this village people from this area are very arrogant. So you're labeling the entire village as being arrogant, and this person coming from that village is also arrogant without getting to know the person. So if you are unable to let go of that kind of attitude, then you won't be able to appreciate a lot more if you travel. Okay, we're talking about local. We're not going abroad yet, because people around you are not culturally the same as well. Then, so how is it that you treat them? Are they equal, or you have some sort of bias? What about your words that you used with them? Like in Malaysia, we are multiracial, right? So we have Malaysian, Chinese, Indian, the major races, and sometimes we use the language of that ethnic group in our expression. For example, when you go to a restaurant, which is an Indian Muslim restaurant, or we call it as Mamak, M-A-M-A-K, Mamak restaurant. Mamak restaurant is an Indian Muslim restaurant. Okay, we would call the waiter as Macha, Ane or Macha, which means either brother or uncle, right? Ane or Macha. Okay, so we use that in our interaction. That shows appreciation towards the people in the shop, and that waiter will come up to you and treat you nicely because, hey, you've called them brother or uncle. Who everybody would smile, right? Everybody hears this young lady calling me Macha or Ane, and I feel happy because And then when they serve you, you say Vanakkam. You say thank you, for example. Is it Vanakkam? No, I don't know. Vanakkam, I think, thank you. So it shows your appreciation towards them. So do you do that? Maybe it's present in your daily life. That is appreciating culture. That is your everyday behavior, how you appreciate culture. So this self-check will enable you to see yourself if you go to another country. Okay, and this self-check will also be able to you to identify whether maybe you subconsciously picked up a behavior that was a long time ago, and maybe that needs to be changed, right? Or maybe there's a behavior that is culturally insensitive that you do, there are certain expressions that you should not say, you should not, certain gestures that you should not do, for example. Okay, these are my personal collection, because I have lots of friends from all kinds of races. This is my good sister from, she's an Indian. We've been friends for more than 20 years, from me not married until now with 3 children. So one day we paid her a visit. We paid her a visit recently, before COVID. It was in 2019. We paid her a visit, and it was an opportunity for my children to experience visiting an Indian family. So I needed my children to go to an Indian house, and how would they behave? How would they behave? Because we know, as Muslims, for example, we know that we shouldn't have ornaments or those statues of animals or something that is like, you worship, But Indians, they have the elephant, they have their goddess and whatnot in the house. So I have to train my children that when you go to people from another religion, this is how you're supposed to behave. Keep your mouth shut, and if you want to know more, ask. So when we went there, my children now, then they were bigger, they were more creative and curious. So they started asking questions, what is this for? What is that for? Even the picture behind them. So this opens up their ability to appreciate. So this is Indian family. Okay, this is also a personal collection with Madam Jacqueline. I believe Madam Jacqueline also did a presentation with University Merdeka. This was, I only had 2, so it should be in 2010 or earlier. I think I was pregnant here. But anyway, this was an invitation. This was an invitation for a Chinese New Year celebration. So when I receive an invitation for Chinese New Year, and I know that Chinese love the color red, so I told everyone in the family we have to wear red, any shade of red, right? So everyone started wearing red. I wore something red. My husband, my daughter wanted pink because it's My Little Pony, and my son wore red. So we went to the house. Surprisingly, the host herself was wearing green, And in Malaysia, green is very much popular for Islam, Muslims. So because she had a lot of Muslim friends, she did not wear red. Instead, she wore green. So you see how the level of appreciation that goes out along the extra mile that she did to let go of her culture not wearing red and try to make everyone feel at home. That is a sign of appreciation. Okay, this one is actually in 2018 or 19. If you look at this, you think that we're all Malaysians. No, we're all international. Of course, myself, Malaysia. The gentleman here is from Maldives. He's from Maldives. Yeah. This gentleman at the back, tall gentleman at the back, is from Iraq. This lady here is from Pakistan. This lady here is from China. We were there because we had to attend a course for 2 weeks and we had to be together for PhD students. Yeah? So it created an opportunity for me to do self-check. I've never met people from Maldives. Now, this is my new experience with someone from Maldives. I've met people from Iraq, Pakistan, and China. So it's a time for me to, maybe there's a need for me to unlearn and relearn something. It opens up opportunity for me to learn more and appreciate more to other culture, right? So self-check. Moving on. Now, in this case, we're talking about if you want to travel abroad. If you want to travel abroad, does not necessarily mean going to another country, but perhaps like Indonesia, you have lots of kepulauan, right? Maybe you need to get in touch with the locals or relevant authority to know more about the area. For example, all of you from Malang wanting to go to where? To what's another place up north, maybe in Aceh perhaps, right? You don't really know much, so you need to know what is it like in Aceh. What's the weather like? What's the food like? Like earlier, Miss Andini was telling me that tempeh is popular in Malang, right? Is it the same in Aceh, for example? So getting to get in touch with the locals and relevant authority helps you to understand more about the culture and enables you to appreciate. So you watch and learn from these people. Okay, I have here a picture of the tourism, Indonesian tourism and Malaysian tourism website, the two websites. And also, if you know, I think you do know, there's this intercultural program called AFS. AFS, what is AFS? I don't remember what is the acronym for, but it's in Bahasa Antara Budaya Malaysia. It's an intercultural program. So if you have alumni from AFS program, it's a good opportunity to ask them, because in this intercultural program, those who join this, they have an option of like staying for 6 months, 1 year, study abroad for a certain period of time, you know. So get to know these people. Ask them, what is it like? What is it like to go there? I believe there are a lot of alumni because AFS is not new. It has been there. In fact, when I was 17, when I was 17, I'm still 17 plus a few more years. When I was 17, my family welcomed a New Zealander, another 17-year-old New Zealand, staying in my house for 1 whole year. So this New Zealand lady, we took in a lady because I'm the eldest and a female, so we had to take in a female student as well. So she stayed with us for 1 whole year, this New Zealander, and we learned a lot from one another. She learned from us, obviously, and we also learned from them. Okay, I have yet to visit her due to the pandemic. Maybe after this we can visit one another. Borders are open, but anyhow, this has opened up opportunities for myself, my family, to appreciate culture, because it's not just about the people around you. Okay, the people around you, yes, you do self-check, you do observe how you interact with your neighbors, your Chinese neighbors, your Chinese classmates, your Indian classmates, your Indian neighbors, but also an opportunity for you to behave. How do you behave with someone from another country? So yeah, it was a great opportunity, 1 whole year. So maybe you get in touch with them. If you're still under 17, I don't think so, you can apply for this, because this program, kalau in Malaysia, it's between 15 to 17. I'm not so sure whether it's the same rule for Indonesia, but for Malaysian, you are supposed to be between 15 to 17 to join this program. So these are the websites. So if you intend to travel abroad to get to know more of another country, look it up. Everything is now at your fingertip, right? Everything is now at your fingertip. Look it up. You don't have to go to the bookstore and find a book about Malaysia, find a book about Indonesia for us, find a book about Thailand or Vietnam. It's all at your fingertips. Just look it up. Get to know more so that you are able to appreciate the differences. Now, with the advent of technology, it opens up another perspective from the social media, right? There are influencers on the social media and they have followers. So they are well known. They are well known for all kinds of reasons, some for beauty reasons, some for food review, some for travel. So maybe it's also a good idea to look up of these influencers on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whichever social media platform, and find out what is it like with relation to where you're going. For example, I'm taking social media influencers in the form of food review. Okay, because when I travel, first and foremost thing that I must remember, I must plan is food. What is the food like? Because an empty tummy makes you an angry tummy, right? So if you go to a country, you don't know what food is served, how are you going to eat? You're going to be moody all the day. You're not going to enjoy the entire travel, the entire vacation, right? So among the first plan is food. So I will do a simple research on food reviews. And I discovered, I'm going to share with you 3 people. This gentleman here. Do you know him? Does anybody know this guy?
Yeah, I know. I also always watch this guy.
Yeah, he's an American. Grew up in Africa. Travels the world, ends up marrying a Thai, and now lives in Thailand. And interestingly, he reviews food. Maybe because he travels a lot. So his level of tolerance, his level of appreciating culture is very high. It's very high. He's able to talk to people around the world. You throw him anywhere, he's able to mingle with the society, mingle with the locals, yeah, because he has traveled around the world. Unlike us, we have to, learn, search, and then ask around. We have to do a little bit of research before we go, right? But this gentleman here, his name is Mark Ween. He now resides in Thailand. He started off reviewing food from Thailand. So here I am. I thought he was Thai because he was talking about Thai food. But when I searched, he's actually American, grew up in Africa, now residing in Thai. So after watching several videos, I discovered that, oh, he talks about food. And the way he describes how food is helps me to understand the food in that area. So the other day we were planning to go to, everything was before COVID, kan? Before COVID, we were planning to go to Pakistan and Maldives to visit my 2 international friends. So I watched a video by Mark Ween because he was talking about the food in Pakistan and Maldives. So what are we going to eat? If we go to this place, what are we going to eat? So this enables you to plan and appreciate the culture in that area. Okay. This is another American. His name is Reese Williams. He is married to a Malaysian, and he's an influencer as well on Instagram. And he does not only talk about food, everything about Malaysia, to say majority about food, yeah. So if you want to learn more about Malaysian culture, food, the culture, places, you can visit his website to know more. Listening, because younger generations now prefer this interactive kind of information, right? As compared to my generation, we would have the books, the journals, the magazine. Oh, so this is Thailand. So we just look at pictures. But now, with the advent of technology, go to the book, go to the website, interactive, watch the video that they uploaded, learn more. It opens up your view about how to appreciate the culture. And for Indonesia, there's so many chefs, but the one that I personally like because of her personality is Chef Marinka. I like the way she explains about the Indonesian food. So I know there's actually quite a number, but I just like her personality when she explains the food with her partner chef, and Chef Marinka. So I go to these social media websites to learn about the food, because when I want to travel, I need to know what kind of food is there, so that when I go there, I'm able to appreciate, right? I learned this because I went to a shop many, many years ago, a shop that sells fabric, kedai kain, fabric. So I went to the shop, and the person there, he is a Pakistani, and I asked him, "Have you had your lunch?" Yeah, I've had my lunch. Because you look pale, I said. well, it's difficult to find food. I just moved from KL to Sungai Petani, and it's difficult to find food because in Sungai Petani it's always rice, 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 rice. Whereas in Pakistan, we don't eat rice every day. We eat rice only on Friday. What do you eat every day? I asked. And he said, we eat bread. We eat bread. So every day it's like something like chapati, roti canai, roti naan, those kind of bread, right? So he was adapting to the new place. Previously, he was in KL. In KL, there were abundance of restaurants for, international people. We have expatriates living in KL, right? Now he is stationed in Sungai Petani. In Sungai Petani, we don't have many expatriates. So we don't have those international restaurants, but we do have one or two. So he was like, yeah, it's my adjustment period. So this is where I picked up that, this is very important, because when you travel to places, food is among the things. So he wasn't smiling because he's hungry, he's tired, he needs food. And he's kind of bored of eating the loaf of bread gardenia or whatever the loaf of bread that is available from the shop. He wants the food that is available like his country. So this is why I discovered that food is one thing. Orang kata, people say that dari mata turun ke hati, right? You learn something from the eye, but eye you only see, you don't experience. But actually, to win somebody's heart, you have to eat, and then you win somebody's heart, right? What you eat, you really experience, you taste it, you smell it, therefore you experience it, and you're more open to acceptance. How long do we have, Anam? How much time do we have?
Actually, you still have 5 until 10 minutes.
Okay, all right, I'll speed up. Okay, so basically, the basics of appreciating culture is, apart from opening up to the whole thing, you have to try to be able to speak a word or phrase of the host language or the target language. So like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be going abroad. Maybe if you have a neighbor who is of a different culture than you, like myself, I have a neighbor who is Chinese and also Indian. So being able to say, auntie, ni hao, auntie. You know how Malaysians, everyone is your auntie or uncle, your aunt or your uncle, right? So we always call the older couple auntie or uncle, right? So every morning I would say, auntie, ni hao. Ni hao is Mandarin, like apa kabar, how are you? So she would feel happy. Good morning, good morning. She'll reply in English. So that creates relationship, that bonds you, that shows appreciation. So that's good. If you can do that on an everyday basis with the people around you, then you'll be able to do it when you go abroad, inshallah. To be able to understand certain gestures, like in Thailand, maybe it might feel funny to you to have to do this, because like for Muslims, it's like you are sembah, you are like you're worshiping someone, right? So most Muslims don't really like it, but it's not a sign of worshiping. It's a sign of respect. So why? Sawadika, if you're a female, ka. If you're a male, you say kap. Sawadika. And Malaysians also have that. We have it. Welcome, selamat datang. We put it on our chest, left, because the heart is here. Selamat datang. I welcome you with open arms. Not just because of the pandemic, but before this, it's mostly like this as well. Because in Islam, the female Muslims would not be shaking hand, right? So we have this. So to be able to understand these basic gestures is good. The first gestures. So when you want to go to places, what are the basic greetings? When upon arrival at the airport, upon arrival at the hotel, what's the basic thing? Because being able to say or to speak a word or phrase in the host language or do certain gestures makes the other person feel happy, and they welcome you more, and you have a better experience. And maybe also understand certain customs, like taking off shoes. Some of my friends, international friends, when they came to our house, they didn't know how to take off shoes because they don't wear socks. So now they try to buy, they have to wear socks because every time you go to Shafinah's house, you have to take off your shoes, and I don't want people to see my toes. So now I learned to wear socks. You see the changes that you have to do. It's not that every day you have to wear socks, but it's just that when you are going to her house and you have to take off her shoes, so you change to suit, to appreciate the culture, the custom that she has, taking off shoes. And in Malaysia, there's this custom where when you come to our house and you are served food, whatever it is, whether it's a glass of water and biscuit or a whole plate or lots of dishes for lunch, you have to eat. No matter how full you are, you have to eat, because that shows respect. If you're full, you eat. If you're not full, you eat, of course, but maybe you eat a little bit, okay? That is a sign of respect. You don't say, oh, no, I don't want to eat, I'm full already. And here the host has put up a whole bunch of dishes for you to enjoy for lunch. You don't decline the invitation. You accept the invitation, eat a little bit, taste a little bit of the dishes, compliment the person. Appreciation, right? Appreciation. It doesn't have to be abroad as well. Maybe you go to a neighbor's house who again is a different culture from you, yeah, and they serve you something, you drink it. If you feel that the glass for Muslim, for example, was used to put in alcohol, then tell gently that I hope I don't offend you, but I need to know whether this glass has been served alcohol in it, because you can't use it. Tell them politely. People would understand. Don't go and say, no, cannot drink, don't want. Don't simply just ignore or decline like that. Tell them nicely that I'm sorry, but I need to know, because of my belief, I need to know whether this plate, this glass has been served haram food for me as a Muslim. Tell them nicely, people would understand, of course. Okay, now I'd like to share an example when receiving wedding invitations. When you receive wedding invitations in Malaysia, the custom is when you invite people to a wedding, you need to go to their house. That's the traditional way. So you go to the house, and interestingly, there are many ways. Some people come in just with a hand and just bow in front of you, Chinese, Malay, and Indian. Okay, but there are also traditional Indian, for example. One day she came to my house, she put it on a tray nicely with flowers and whatnot, came to my house and said, I have an invitation for you. So you receive a wedding invitation. Okay. Once you receive a wedding invitation, what do? Read the invitation. What is it that you're supposed to wear? Are you supposed to wear a certain attire, or it's not mentioned? So perhaps to show appreciation, you might want to wear something that is unique to that culture. But bear in mind, ask around first. Don't wear as you please. You need to ask. That's where you seek information from the expert, people who know. What is it like? How is it? What is it? What kind of attire do I have to wear if I were to invite to this kind of wedding invitation? Ask. No harm is asking. Kalau in bahasa, they would say, malu bertanya, sesat jalan. That's another proverb, another peribahasa. Malu bertanya, sesat jalan. Ask. No harm done. You're asking. What is it am I supposed to wear? Because you don't want to offend. Here, the person comes very happily inviting you to the wedding. Siap letak, put it on the tray, you know, so respectful. So you don't want to offend that. You ask, what am I supposed to wear? What am I supposed to wear? If you can ask directly, ask directly. If you can't ask directly, ask people around you, so that when you go there, you won't feel offended. You won't offend the host. Yeah. You mentioned just now puak kumbu. Yeah. Interestingly, I have this picture as well in my slide. Puak kumbu is a multicolored material, right? And it's actually used for a holy ceremony. But I've noticed that when people go there and buy puak kumbu, they come back to their house, they bring it to their house, they put it as a tablecloth. Which people from this group who designed Puak Kumbu, okay, would feel offended because it is used for a ceremony, a special ceremony, and here you are putting it as a tablecloth. It might offend them. So when you travel to places, itu yang dikatakan, when you go to places, you don't go there simply, you just go there because it's a trend. You go there, you have to ask, if I buy this, how can I use it? So that you are able to appreciate, so that when people come to your house and see, oh, you put this Puak Kumbu as a tablecloth, you know, and that person kebetulan is the ethnic group for that. You know, you don't offend people, you learn. You unlearn, relearn, right? You open yourself. That's appreciation. You don't simply buy it because it looks nice, so I'm going to make a skirt out of it. Can or cannot make a skirt out of it? You have to ask. Can you make this material, cloth, into a skirt? You have to ask so that you won't offend them. Later on, you put up in your social media account, here you are wearing your Puak Kumbu skirt. Okay or not? Then you have all the negative comments on your social media account. So that's why you need to ask, not simply, that shows appreciation. So I have 2 videos, but I'll show one. Hang on, I'll show one. Sempat lagi ya, Pak Anam? Do we still have time?
Of course, it is very interesting actually. I can cut your material.
Okay, all right. Here's the video. Let's listen.
My name is Tim Sharp, and since I
Sorry, Madam Shafinah, I can see the YouTube.
since I arrived in Malaysia,
It is only the slide. So maybe you can stop the presentation
okay.
and then the share again.
Okay, sure. All right. So stop sharing. Okay, sorry about that. So I have to open the, oh, it cannot, yeah? Itulah. Hang on. Where's the slide? So I have to, hang on. My apologies. Share. I have to share this one. Okay. How about now? Is it there?
Yeah, okay. It is okay. We are family.
Okay.
my name is Tim Sharp, and since I
Can you hear it?
Sure, of course.
Okay.
come see, come. And since I arrived in Malaysia, I've been called all sorts of names. Macam? Oh, no, it's Tim. Hi, Subang? Yeah, Bang. Oh, no, Subang. Boleh, Bang? Oh, no, Subang. Yeah. I got, sorry. What did he say? Brother, boiling water. What's matcha? Brother-in-law. Bang? Elder brother? So you call strangers family?
Yes. If not, we all be strangers.
So I've started some name calling of my own. Ane, roti telur.
Mana seorang, ha?
Pakcik, berapa ringgit?
RM2 sayang.
It's okay. They don't mind. Auntie, uncle, dosan.
Oh, 嗰個後生叫我 auntie。
We're family.
Okay. It's actually a video from Maxis. Maxis is one of the biggest telecommunication company in Malaysia. And if you notice in the beginning, there was this brother, because in Malaysia, it's common. But I always tell my students, if you go abroad, you don't go around calling people brother, sis, because in another country, it's not appropriate. But in Malaysia, it's appropriate. So if you don't get this information, you don't ask around and you get offended unnecessarily, you're in their country. So we need to be able to appreciate. It's not something offensive. It's just that at the end, as the video mentioned, we don't want people to be like strangers. So that's why we have the brother, the uncle, the auntie, the macha. Everybody is called as if they're family. That's the whole concept of Malaysia. Okay. Let's try another video. Okay, hang on. Okay, got it. Okay.
Mama.
Share. Share screen. Okay. Share. Now it's boss teh tarik satu. Do you see it?
Of course.
Okay, let's watch this video.
Mas semangat bila nutrisimu mencukupi. Similac IntelliPro dari minda turun ke hati.
Oh, advertisement.
Aneh. Teh tarik. Teh tarik. Aneh, sini. Apa spesial? Sini macam-macam, semua spesial apa?
So you see in the beginning how he hand gestures a lot of things and it's common. So maybe by watching this on YouTube gives you an idea. But again, you know, first time, like in the previous video, when the foreigners start saying, "Macam, aneh, roti telur satu," and then the shop owner will go, "What is he talking about?" So yeah, you don't simply do it on the first round. You have to make, you know, several visits perhaps. So start with something milder, then they would understand.
Kita ada roti telur, roti kotak, roti tisu, roti naan, roti sardin, Maggi goreng limau, Maggi goreng ais. Nih, sini apa yang best? Semua best ni. Kita ada roti jantan, roti telur goyang, roti serai tuan-tuan, roti kunyit. Nih, saya nak nasi goreng. Tak nak sayur, tak nak pedas, tak nak gula. Yang penting bawang goreng je lebih. Nih, Milo ais bungkus. Mangkuk satu. Teh tarik satu. Lepas tu nasi goreng mamak. Mamak nasi goreng mamak siap. Asal sikit. You tadi cakap nasi goreng kan? Mamak lebih kan? 1, 2 mamak lebih. Apa dah?
Anam, ais kosong satu. Minum saja Anam. Nanti saya baru makan. Super nice. Anam. Wow,
wow, amazing. Nasi goreng satu. Nasi goreng ayam. Settle. Yolah. Bos, bayar. Apa makan? Teh ais limau. Teh ais limau. Nasi goreng. Nasi goreng ayam.
In Malaysia, everybody is the boss. Everybody is the boss.
Hey, boss. Boss, sambung meja. Nanti banyak kawan datang.
Berapa? 5. 30 ah? 30.
Boss, WhatsApp password.
Bayar dulu. Bayar dulu.
Aku belum order.
Password, bayar dulu.
Oh.
Amoy. Ini Oma. Apa makan Amoy? Apa makan?
Kasih teh tarik rendah.
Teh tarik rendah.
Roti telur rendah.
Roti telur rendah.
See, to be able to use the certain words or phrases. Amoy is the young lady here. Roti telur una satu, una rendah is 2. I'm not so sure whether it's Tamil or Urdu.
Neh. Kasih mie goreng tambah telur dadah.
Telur mata.
Telur dadah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, ini makan apa ini? Nasi putih, kari kambing kapla ikan. Ini Miloy, kasih coating bicara. Ini sap kau, ini sap kau. Kasih cincai saja. Semua sekali 160.
Okay, so in this video, it's on YouTube. So it shows several things that I mentioned earlier, like using certain phrases, hand gestures, yeah. And where do you get this? It's not just by going there and seeing it yourself, but now with the advent of technology, you can watch it on YouTube so that it gives you an idea of how is it like in Malaysia when you want to order food, right? So yeah, that's how you learn about other people's culture. Okay, let me share the final part of the slide. Okay, towards the end. Okay. Okay. Right. So learning about one's culture is a lot like learning a different language. You know, once you've done the work to understand and connect, it's easier to appreciate. So when you learn something, you have to open up so that it helps you to be able to accept things. You are sensitive towards other people. You're mindful about your behavior so that it does not offend you. Because like I said earlier, we are not in tempurung, kan, under tempurung. We're living with people. So we have to make sure that everyone feels happy, comfortable around us. So it's not just appreciating when you go abroad. It's appreciating culture is also people around you as well. So if you don't have the opportunity to visit places, create an opportunity for yourself. Go visit places around you that you can learn and appreciate culture. Join formal, informal programs organized by your university or your institution. Explore the social media platforms so that you'll be able to appreciate culture. You have all this at your fingertips. All this will enable you to have an open mind to learn new things and above all, like the topic, appreciate culture. In UiTM, for example, belum sampai lagi. So at the end of the day, you should know what is the purpose of the whole communication, the activity. Are you going to Malaysia for work? Are you going to Malaysia for shopping? Are you going to Malaysia because you want to keep up with the trend to go to Instagrammable places? So if you have that in mind, nanti when you go to Malaysia, your idea is just, I want to take pictures only. So the level of appreciation is different from if you want to go and learn about the history. If you want to go because you want to learn about the culture, then you'll be asking around. But if your intention from the beginning, you intend to go on a vacation to Malaysia, is just to take pictures so that I have more followers, so that I can put up Instagrammable pictures or posts, then the level of appreciation is different. That's my opinion. So again, appreciation is every day, not just abroad, but also around you, your daily activity. And this is the 3L that I was mentioning earlier: listen, learn, and local. UiTM Kedah conducts a lot of culture exchange program with Tap Satri Rajabat University, Thailand. And the last one that we did was before COVID in 2019. So I would like to share the video with you. Hang on. Okay, hang on. Stop share. I would like to share the video with you. Where's the... Okay, last video. Can you see the video? It's a...
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay, so that is a video of the program that we annually have in UiTM Kedah with Tap Satri Rajabat University. And it has been 2 years since the COVID, we haven't conducted, so hopefully we can. So to end my presentation, I have this quote: "You don't change culture through emails and memos, you change it through relationships, one conversation at a time," which could be interpreted that when you want to learn culture, you want to experience culture, you don't just simply look at it from papers now. You don't simply look at it from the YouTube videos, but you have opportunities to build relationship by communicating. In fact, today, as we speak right now, you have a whole opportunity to be in touch with some of my students in the session, to get to know them and start off one conversation at a time so that you get to learn and appreciate our culture, inshallah. So this is my email. If you have any further communications with me, I can be contacted at the following email address. Thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing day. You all have an amazing day. Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Madam Shafinah, about the presentations. It was really wonderful. And yeah, it is very interesting and amazing to understand Malaysian culture since we are Indonesians. By learning the cultures, I mean, we can now realize that what we learn, what we utilize, what we practice as a norm cannot be universally understood. People, especially, I mean, Indonesian and Malaysians, maybe perform differently. There will be any differences between people and country and customs. Yeah, we know that both Malaysians and Indonesians have similarities in terms of food, language, and also traditional culture. But it doesn't mean that we are the same. So that's why we need to appreciate the difference between the countries, as like yeah, the language, as what I've been mentioned, the food, and also the religion. The three things that we can start to appreciate by using 3L, as what have been mentioned by Madam Shafinah: listen, learn, and local. And of course, learning new cultures, actually, I mean, yeah, adjustment can be teaching us to be more mindful and tolerance. Yeah, this is what I need actually to live in society. Okay, thank you, Madam Shafinah. It was really wonderful. But if you have some more minutes, I mean, yeah, 5 minutes, I will give the opportunity to my students to ask you something, if it is possible. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No,
to anybody who want to ask, you can raise your hand and click the button. Okay, the two students. Yeah, maybe I will only have once. I mean, because we have very limited time. Maybe Florentina.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is your questions?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Thank you for the opportunity that given to me. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Florentina Olivia from University of Merdeka Malang. I want to ask about how we deal with culture shock that happens when we are in other areas, and whether we will face changes in ourselves when dealing with culture shock. Maybe what the change will be like. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Florentina, for the question. Yeah, culture shock, it's undeniable. You will experience culture shock, just like my story just now, where the Pakistani guy from Kuala Lumpur moves to Sungai Petani, and in Sungai Petani, there's no food that he can eat properly. So that is a culture shock to him. He is depriving himself of food, right? So how does he deal with it? He eats other things. So it is undeniable, you cannot run away from it, but you can try to reduce it. So maybe to reduce the cultural shock, you have to be more open. So when you are open to the changes, you welcome, you enable yourself to embrace the new thing. So yeah, you don't have bread in Sungai Petani, maybe I can try other food. So you're not depriving yourself from what you really want, and you're making yourself happy. So that culture shock will be, reduced. Maybe not totally makes you feel happy entirely, but it makes you feel better. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, and maybe we still have one more. Was it questions from Nabila?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anam. Good morning, Madam Shafinah.
Morning.
I'm Nabila Risa from University of Merdeka Malang. I want to ask about how can culture shock arise? Thank you.
Right. Now, culture shock arises when you're not ready, when you're not prepared. You know that you're going places. You know that you're going places, and yet you don't prepare yourself mentally. It's like going to an exam. When you know that there is an exam, you make certain preparations, right? You eat earlier so that you won't get tummy upset. So when you know that you're going somewhere into a different culture, you have to be mentally prepared. So yeah, that's apa tadi soalannya? What was the question again?
How can culture shock arise?
Yeah, so if you don't prepare yourself, if you don't comfort yourself or tell yourself that, okay, I'm going somewhere, so you make yourself feel comfortable in that aspect. And when you go there, the cultural shock is not really that high, but still there, but you get to control it, get to manage it instead. So first time stepping into, I'm always talking about food because food is the basic thing. When people go places, the main thing that, I don't like this food, I don't like that food, because it's not going to make you happy, right? Majority of us will be relying on food to make us happy. I don't enjoy this nasi because it's not like the nasi padang in my country, even though it's nasi padang, restaurant nasi padang in Kuala Lumpur, but it's not entirely the same. Yes, but at the same time, we must know that we are traveling places. So learn to control your feelings that, okay, this is a learning process, so that you don't feel stressed out about it. Yeah, inshallah. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, madam.
I see another question, yeah, Anam.
Okay, maybe we can. This is the last questions. I mean, the last chance. You can ask to Madam Shafinah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anam. Good morning, Madam Shafinah. My name is Vikan Rubidianti. I'm from Merdeka Malang University. This question I want to ask to you is how to avoid depression due to culture shock.
Avoid depression, right? Did I hear correctly?
Yeah.
Avoid depression due
to culture shock.
To do.
I meant. Oh, I mean, yeah, we can may ask about how to reduce the depressions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. How to reduce depression? Okay, depression is when it's the high level of not being able to accept things and not be able to control. One of the major things that you have in yourself is to be able to control your emotion, right? So that is why, like I said earlier, when you know that you're going places, you always have this idea that it's an opportunity for me to learn, and that would reduce the culture shock. And if you dwell further, that culture shock will lead to depression, right? So you have to keep telling yourself that this is a learning process, learn to appreciate things. So just like the example earlier, the nasi padang. So what that the nasi padang does not taste the same as in your hometown, but at least this is the culture, this is the nasi padang in this area. So if you are able to accept that, to embrace the changes from the culture shock, it will not lead further to depression. Acceptance, embracing culture, that's more important. Hopefully, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Madam Shafinah.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think it is all the program. Yeah, if I can conclude again that actually food is very important for Madam Shafinah and maybe for all the audiences. Yeah, I have to say that actually my material comes from the experience of my wife, because she was living in Malaysia for 6 months. At the first time she lived in Malaysia, she told me that it was very wonderful. But of course, after maybe 1 until 3 months of living in Malaysia, she felt very, what's that? Yeah, because of food.
Yep.
Because in Malaysia, every day we have to eat curry. Everywhere we can meet curry, we can find curry easily. So yeah, of course, she feel really, what is that? Homeless. Okay, because of curry. Yeah. Yeah, this is the story of the material actually. And again, at the last of the part of our discussions, I'd like to show my honor and big thanks to Madam Shafinah about her explanations in cultural adjustment. I do hope that we can arrange the similar program to build the relationship between our campus, or even me personally, to have some research in terms of cultural adjustment between Malaysia and also Indonesians. And this is the end of our collaborative teaching program. But before we end up today's discussions, I'd like to ask all the audiences and maybe Madam Shafinah to turn on the camera to the photo sessions. Okay. So please, the audience, can you turn on your camera? And help the teams to capture your smile. Okay, maybe we can start from the first page. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, we are moved to the second pages. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the third. Okay. And the last one. Okay. Yeah. Closing this wonderful program and experience, if Madam Shafinah had a lot of, what's that, peribahasa, and here again I have pantun to be shared.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, I have a pantun as well.
but me first.
Okay, sure.
Let me tell the pantun first. Ke pasar beli permata, permata mahal harganya. Sampai di sini acara kita, sampai jumpa di acara-acara berikutnya.
Masya Allah.
Silo Madam Shafinah. To share the pantun.
Okay. Now I forgot the pantun because it was in my head. I did not write it down.
Okay.
Terima kasih daun keladi. Semoga kita berjumpa lagi.
Amin. Okay, this is all of our today's. Okay, this is all of our today's discussions. Thank you again for the attendance and explanation from Madam Shafinah. See you on our next event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye, Madam Shafinah. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.